Shalom and welcome to Challenging Torah, a product of the Malibu Jewish Center and Synagogue. Well, last week we left our grumblers in the desert. Where's the meat? Are we there yet? What are we doing in this desert? Are we there yet? We've been out for 3 days. And suddenly they see a sign along the highway that says, Promised Land, 20 miles ahead. Oh no, maybe we are there yet. Maybe this is real. I don't know that I'm actually ready. How do we know this is going to be okay? And so they begin to challenge Moses. And Moses says, God, what do I do? And God says, well, see for yourself. Shlach lecha, which means send for yourself, scouts to scout out the land. Send chieftains from each of the tribes of the community according to their ancestral clans, that they may see for themselves and bring back a report. So Moses chooses 12, and off they go to scout out the land with a definite point of reference. They are to find out, is it wooded? Does it have good soil? Are the cities fortified? They're sent on a fact-finding mission. They're not really spies. They're fact-finders. They're the first political group. And they go, and they are gone for the prescribed 40 days, checking out the Promised Land. And at the end of the 40 days, they return, and here's what they say. We came to the land that you sent us, and it indeed flows with milk and honey. However, the people who live there are very powerful people, and they're really strong, and their cities are fortified and very large, and we can't possibly enter this land. It's the however that does the Jewish people in. You know, when somebody says, how was the event? And you say, oh, it was okay. It was really fine. However, and then you give your opinion for 40 minutes about what was wrong with it. They weren't asked for an opinion. They were just sent on a fact-finding mission. Not all the spies go along with this spreading of evil rumor. Caleb and Joshua hold to their own perceptions, and they urge everyone to see the fantastic potential of the land that God is giving them. Caleb stands before the people and then says, let's by all means go up. We shall gain possession of the land as promised by God. No one pays any attention to him. There is panic in the camp. And so the spies continue with their story. Well, we cannot attack these people because it is stronger than us. And they spread, I love the word in English, we've never heard it before, calumnies, which I will explain in a minute, about the land they had scouted, saying, the country we have traversed is one that devours its settlers. The people that we saw are men of great size. They are Nephilim, the Anakim, who are giants, are related to the giants. We looked like grasshoppers to ourselves, and so we must have looked to them. Wow. That is the end of that mission. And so the calumnies are the word debat, which means using words to an evil end. That's the role of inciting a crowd so that suddenly the mob is paralyzed by fear. These people are completely frozen by their fear, and God can see, now look, there's still a bunch of slaves. It's not going to be okay. And of course they see themselves as grasshoppers, as slaves. Now, Rashi asks a good question. How do they know how the Anakim see them? I mean, who knows, right? But we tend to project that others see us as we see ourselves. For the Jewish people, that's often been a problem as we go through the stages of what it means to be a Jew in a world that is not always positively inclined toward Jews. At this moment, they see themselves as very, very small. And God is disgusted. And he calls Moses and he says, you know what? This is a rerun of the golden calf. Same argument. Your people know your people. wipe them out. No, I can't wipe them out. Yes, you shouldn't wipe them out. What will everybody think if you wipe them out? Remember your good side, God. Adonai, Adonai. El Rachum v'Chanun. You're a loving and gracious God. What will everybody think? Once again, Moses says, and God says, fine. But their carcasses will drop. Anyone who has been part of this generation, only their children will inherit the land. And so, it's 38 more years in the desert. And as the Torah portion ends, interestingly enough, there's a little piece about make for yourself tzitzit. And there's the commandment to have a talit with a tzitzit on it, that you should remember that God is with you and protects you. And that prayer becomes a part of the Shema, the third paragraph, that we say every day. And so, no, God's protection, we wear it. We wear the reminder so that we know that God is with us. However, as the saying goes, it's going to be a very long and hot journey. Shabbat Shalom. Join us for Torah.